Okay, I'm going to show you how to make a simple projectile that when you click the button, the fire button or fire input, the player will do is shoot animation, but also a projectile will come out of his hand. And then we'll carry that on in the future where it will take health off the enemies, and maybe we'll make a projectile for the enemies so they'll hit the character. I'm just going to delete these health pickups for now. And I'm going to go to my blueprint section and I'm going to make a new folder, and I'll just type in weapons, and I'll color this one green, and I'm going to make a new blueprint class. It's going to be an actor, and I'm just going to call this Projectile. And I'm going to get a sprite component, and I'm going to choose that gold coin type sprite again. I'm just going to drag that up until the default scene right there. Also going to make a box collision for this. Scale that down. Let's make it a bit bigger. And we're also going to add another component, and this is going to be a projectile movement. We might have to do some tweaking with this, but let's just say we set our initial speed. I think this needs to be pretty high, so we're going to set it to 700, and gravity we're going to leave it 0, or change to 0 because it will fall down otherwise. And I think that should be it in this section. So what we want to do is, whenever this spawn now, it's going to move forward, okay? So you can see there it's taken off. It doesn't have any gravity set, so I think that might be too slow. I'm just going to maybe make it 1,000. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Simulate that. Yeah, that seems cool enough. What we want to have happen is maybe a delay of 3 seconds, and then it's going to destroy itself. So destroy actor, just so that if we're shooting constantly, we're not going to have an infinite amount of projectiles out there. With the box, what we're going to say is, if it begins overlapping with something, we want it to destroy as well. So we're going to right click on the box, add event, begin overlap, and again we're just going to type in destroy actor. What we also want to do is, with the paper sprite, is to go down to collisions, and we want to change the collision preset to NoCollision on that. And with the box, we're actually going to change something in this. Okay, so we're actually going to make our own collision preset for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into project settings, down into collision, if I can find it. Well, there it is. And what we want to do is we want to make a new object channel. Okay, and we're just going to call this projectile. And we're going to set that to block, or actually overlap, and accept. So what this allows us to do is, in our projectile, under the box tab, is we're going to go to the custom, and instead of this being an object type of world dynamic, we're going to set it to projectile. Just how to save it there. So if that doesn't pop up, just compile and save it, and it will pop up then. And projectile set to overlap everything, but we don't want it to overlap our pawn, so we're going to set that to ignore. But everything else, that should be fine. We don't want it to overlap with other projectiles as well, so we're going to ignore that, and it's going to ignore any line traces as well. So back to our 2D side scroller, and remember we did set up in a previous video the shoot action fire, which kind of decreases our ammo. What we're also going to do is from that we're going to type in spawn, and it's going to be spawn actor from class, and our class is going to be, if we search for it, Projectile. Now it does need a location where it's going to send this from. So what I'm going to do is in our viewport, I'm going to make a new arrow component. Okay, so this is something that is not seen in game. Okay, so it's going to be hidden, but this will give us a point of reference. I'm just going to turn off the snap to of where we want to shoot this from. So when he extends his arm, it'll probably be somewhere like that, but we can tweak it just to get that right. So back in our graph editor, you can see I tried to compile it and it's getting this error. That's because it doesn't have a spawn transform. We're just going to get our arrow component, and we're going to type in transform. So get word transform, and we can plug that in there. So that is where it's going to fire from. So if we press play, we test this out, we can see that it's working. Now the collisions in, oh, I'm out of ammo. The collisions in the bad guys don't seem to be working, so what we can do is go to our enemy, and we'll just go into the capsule for that, and under the collision section, okay, in the details panel, we just want to go down to a projectile. You can see it's overlapping, and we're just going to block that. Okay, so it's going to block any projectiles. Save, press play. Still not working. So I'm just going to check. So it's ignoring everything, and our projectile is set to projectile. And our enemy is set to a pawn, so it's, I should change this to something else, maybe world dynamic, because our projectile is kind of ignoring a pawn because our player's a pawn, but our enemy was also set to a pawn. But I've just changed that to world dynamic. Just see what that will bring up. Should be okay. Yeah, so it's coming off those. So that's how you set up a projectile. Obviously it's pretty simple at the minute. It's not taking health off anybody, but it is working in terms of, like, we can only shoot for as much of ammo that we have, but we could add in particle effects, take off health, so when enemies die they explode or something like that, or blood splatters out of them. We can do that in future lessons.